Welcome to Year 11 Information Evening at Sacred Heart. My name is Mr. Scarr, Trust Director of History. The aim of this presentation is to support Year 11 students in their revision for the coming rehearsal examinations. On the week beginning November the 9th, History students will sit 2 pre-public examinations, or PPEs. Students will complete 2 full past papers. The first paper sat will last 1 hour and 15 minutes. It will examine the Paper 1 topic, Crime and Punishment in Britain, circa 1000 to present day. The second paper to be sat is on the Paper 2 topic, Early Elizabethan England. This paper will last for 55 minutes. The first examination paper will test students' knowledge and understanding of the Crime and Punishment topic. The paper will ask questions from across the full unit. Therefore, students must make sure they revise content from all 5 sections. The sections are Medieval England, Early Modern England, 18th and 19th century Britain, Modern Britain, and Crime, Policing in the Inner City, Whitechapel. Students will answer 5 questions on this paper. The paper is worth 52 marks and lasts 1 hour and 15 minutes. Question 1 is a describe style question, which relies on a student applying specific contextual knowledge. For question 2, students will be asked to evaluate 2 sources and follow a specific line of inquiry relating to one source. Questions 3 to 6 require students to write analytically using their contextual knowledge. They should spend 5 minutes on question 1, 20 minutes in total on question 2, 5 minutes on question 3, 20 minutes on question 4, and 25 minutes on either question 5 or 6. 4 marks are awarded for spelling, punctuation, and grammar in the final question. Paper 2 will test students' knowledge and understanding of Elizabethan England, 1558 to 88. It's split into 3 sections. Section 1 will focus on the Queen, government and religion. Section 2, challenges to Elizabeth at home and abroad. And Section 3, Elizabethan society in the age of exploration. Students will answer 3 questions on this paper. The paper is worth 32 marks and lasts 55 minutes. No sources are included, so all questions require students to write using only their contextual knowledge. Like in paper 1, question 1A is a describe style question, which relies on applying specific contextual knowledge. 1B and C require students to write more analytically and in depth. They should spend 5 minutes on question 1A, 20 minutes on question 1B, and 30 minutes on 1C. Question 1C gives students the choice to answer either part 1 or part 2. Both options require them to write in depth. The revision guide shown is specifically designed for the Pearson specification. One covers Crime and Punishment, the other covers Elizabethan England. Guides cost £2.50 and can be purchased from Miss Gray, Curriculum Leader at Sacred Heart. Now I'm going to give you some useful advice in preparing for your examination. The science of revision. Recently, there has been a great deal of research that has come to light on how our brain works. When we learn, concepts and knowledge are stored in our long-term memory. Our long-term memory is, in theory, limitless. To make learning sticky, we must regularly reach back into our long-term memory, to what we've learned, and bring to mind what we wish to recall. It's important that we regularly clear these paths to our long-term memory. This requires a deal of hard thinking and sometimes can feel frustrating, but the science has shown that it does work. Daniel Williams says, "Whatever you think about, that is what you remember. Memory is the residue of thought. So a really useful guideline in your revision should be to ask yourself, am I thinking hard about this? If the answer is yes, you will find that it will begin to stick. Some GCSE History Revision words of warning. Firstly, avoid revising with your mobile phones. They are a distraction. Secondly, do not read your revision guide from cover to cover. This way, you're not engaging with the material, you're not thinking about it. Thirdly, be careful with excessive use of highlighters. Be careful revising with friends, they can be a distraction. And finally, YouTube has some good videos on there about GCSE history, but only look at the videos that your teacher recommends. Make your own flashcards and use them. Flashcards are an extremely useful revision aid in history. Flashcards can be made on events or individuals. They can also be built around questions. In this case, I have chosen, how did the medieval church influence crime and punishment? I write this on the front of the card. On the back of the card, the key points are noted down. Making a flashcard in itself is a useful process, as it's making the student think about the topic. This is why it's important for them to make their own. Once flashcards have been made, students can ask members of their family to use the flashcards to test them. If their knowledge on a particular card is weak, it can go on a pile to be retested in the very near future. Timelines are extremely useful. Firstly, the act of making your own timeline makes you think about the key dates. When finished, timelines are of value in seeing how a period fits together. This can support students with their basic chronological understanding. Having a strong grasp of when events happened is useful when evaluating the provenance of historical sources. This very simple timeline shows the lifespan of each Tudor monarch. It gives us an instant visual of the chronology of the Tudor period. It provides a secure understanding or framework on which further knowledge can be built. Summary diagrams show clearly how a topic fits together. They provide a very clear and simple visual of a topic on which further knowledge can be built. Here are some examples. A summary diagram could be used to show the cause of an event, it could be used to show the consequence of the event, or it could be used just to summarise a topic in general. Ask your teacher for as many examination style questions as possible. In GCSE history, most questions are built around stems. For example, the stem of this question is explain why. Planning answers to as many question stems as you can is effective preparation for the examination, because it will get you thinking about the content that may come up and how you're going to meet the assessment criteria. Examination style questions could be planned on flashcards or on summary diagrams. So, step 1, you would look back on what you've been taught about exam technique. Step 2, then plan answers to each question stem, maybe on a flashcard or as a summary diagram. Step 3, practice writing out your answers in timed conditions. Step 4, self-assess or ask your teacher for some feedback. Useful websites and home learning. GCSE Pod and Seneca have a number of quizzes on the topics which you cover. BBC Bite Size has useful content, and Mr. Alsop History has some excellent podcasts on the 20th century. Know the specification of your examination board well. Students here are following the Pearson Edexcel examination board. Pearson publishes a specification on the key knowledge to be covered. The specification for Pearson can be found on the link which is shown below. Whilst this is used by the teacher, it can also be incredibly useful for the students. Whatever content is mentioned on the examination specification, this can also appear on the examination paper. Pictured, you can see the Pearson Edexcel specification for early Elizabethan England, 1558 to 88. And this goes through all the key topics and key terminology which could come up on the paper. The temptation now would be to say good luck, but of course, luck does not come into it. GCSE grades are not made by luck, they're built on hard work and revision. I implore you to prepare carefully and thoroughly for your PPE examinations, following the advice given carefully. The old adage is true: the harder you work, the luckier you get.